Hello and welcome to TFF Talks, FL72, the best football league podcast. I'm Max Hayes, I'm your host this evening. We've got a great panel for questions to be put to and also comments from them too. I'm joined tonight first of all, by my co-host Josh Keeper-Wells, owner of the Last Waltz blog, and standing in for Connor tonight. Josh, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks. Like I say, Josh, our co-host tonight, so he'll be answering and putting a lot of questions as well to the panel. First of all, the first person of our panel tonight is Tom Bullivant, football journalist and Lincoln City fan. Tom, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks. Great to have you on tonight, and including all the others, which we'll read out shortly. And also we've got Aidan Boyer tonight, a Northampton Town fan and a upcoming football journalist. Aidan, how are you?
All right, thanks, yourself.
Yeah, I'm really good. Anyway, we've got two more, and that's Ashley. Ashley Thorpe, Peterborough United fan. He films for BT at Macclesfield Town and a manager of TFF non-league. Ashley, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good, mate.
Good. And last but not least, Joe Buck, proud football journalist at TFF and TFF Newcastle. He loves the EFL and he's a Newcastle fan and also hates Sunderland. Joe, how are you?
I'm good. Just glad the football's back, to be honest.
Yes, exactly the same with me. And that's what we'll talk about tonight as well. So anyway, the first bit we're going to be moving on to is the Championship. We've got covering tonight Championship, League One and League Two. So the first fixture we really want to talk to and get into the bones of the show is Sunderland v Derby. It finished 1-1. It was Simon Gregson's first game of managing Sunderland, and it finished in a 1-1 draw. Derby scored first and then Sunderland scored. But first of all, we'll go to Joe. Now, Joe, thoughts on that game, if you saw it?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so your thoughts on that then?
I watched the match in Benidorm, actually, in Spain, outside a pub.
Nice.
I think Sunderland. I think the penalty, first of all, Derby. I think that's a harsh penalty.
Yeah.
He's fallen over and it just hits his arm. But I think if you're a Sunderland fan, I think you'd be happy with that, especially going into it. Derby's a tough match, and who knows what you're gonna get after their season last year. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a solid start. Yeah,
and we'll go to Aidan next. Now, Aidan, obviously you're a Northampton fan,
Yep.
But how do you think Sunderland will do this season? Obviously with a new manager, and obviously previously relegated from the Premier League. Do you think they'll bounce straight back up?
Well, I think you've got to look at Aston Villa last season. I mean, kind of very similar to how they did in the Premier League. Really much struggled, went down quite early on.
Yep.
And they didn't exactly bounce back. You know, they might do well this season, but they got a mid-table finish last year. So I'm expecting kind of the same from Sunderland, really. I'm not expecting them to finish that high up the table, but I'm not expecting them to do terribly either. So I think maybe mid-table. But the game on Friday night, I think they looked okay, but I think Derby did look the better side, in my opinion. They'll probably do better this season, and it was good to see a former Northampton player in Bradley Johnson scoring the first goal of the Football League season for Derby. That was nice to see.
It's a really good point you've mentioned there about Villa. But one for you, Ashley, is how well do you think Simon Gregson will do this year? Obviously, he's come in with a completely new team. He's left his old team, Preston. How do you think he'll do with Sunderland?
I think it'll be I'll finish top half, but I don't think they'll get playoffs. I think it'll just be a season of more of consolidation rather than a big promotion push. Because obviously they've had a lot of changes to the squad. Just getting ready for this level, and I think it's just more consolidating their place and then pushing on for next year, rather than just go go for bust and go straight for promotion.
Yeah, another good point there. We'll go to Tom now. We're going to do a bit of a prediction round really now. So where do you think Derby and Sunderland will both finish?
I think they'll finish sort of similar. I think Derby will finish just outside the playoffs, or if not, just squeeze a place.
Yep.
Because Gary Rowell, I think he's a great manager in the Championship, and you've sort of seen how he's transformed a poor Birmingham team who were losing sort of like 7-1 to Bournemouth or 8-1, I can't remember. And he transformed them into a near playoff team. And I think if he can sort of get that with a sort of a solid side now, I think he can make them into a very good squad, and they'll just get outside the playoffs. And then I think Sunderland will sort of do the same because they've got a bit of Premier League experience in there, and then they've sort of brought in the likes of Vaughan, who's I wasn't really sure of at first. And so, yeah, I think they'll just finish outside the playoffs as well.
Yeah, you are correct there about both finishing similar because they have both got the potential in both teams to be really good. We'll now go to Josh with a similar question. Now, Josh, obviously, you're a Gills fan. How well do you think Gary Rowett's obviously done? Just like Tom mentioned, how well do you think he's done with Derby so far? Because he came in towards the end of last season. How well do you think he's done so far?
Well, I think it's more of a matter of looking how bad Birmingham were as soon as they got rid of him. I think they were third in the league when they got the news, and he got second. Last game of the season, they were fighting for their place in the Championship, and that's all you need to know how really good he is. A team that was fighting for their life with the same squad, he took them to third. Obviously, he's gone into Derby, who are a club that's been knocking on the door for a while now, and I'm confident they'll be up there this season just because of how good of a manager he is, and I definitely think if they don't win the league, they'll definitely be up there.
Yeah, and now it brings us on to the next game. A game that I think surprised a lot of EFL fans was QPR Reading. QPR winning the Reading game. I'm just checking now. I think it was 2-0, wasn't it? Correct me anyone if I'm wrong. Was it 2-0?
Yeah, 2-0.
Right. Cheers, Josh, and whoever said that. How well do you think QPR will do this season? Obviously, Ian Holloway, he didn't do that well with them last season. Do you think he'll turn him around and QPR could push for playoffs even? Sorry, I didn't pointed that one as. We'll go to Aidan.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's interesting to see with QPR because they're a team that a couple of years ago, Premier League and high Championship, then the big parachute payments that they got from getting relegated are kind of gone away now, and they've gone back to having minimal money to spend along with the other Championship teams around them. Great start to the season, though. I mean, it could be a case of Reading just having a poor start and QPR capitalising on that, or it could be QPR maybe are going to have a really good season. But I mean, when Northampton played them in the EFL Cup on Tuesday night, I mean, it was a very similar team they put out to the league match, and they looked very poor. They definitely weren't the better side in that game. So I'm not sure whether it was just in the game against Reading, whether they had a lucky game with Reading weren't on their best form or anything. But I don't know. I think QPR will do better than people expected to do. They've got some really strong players, including Connor Washington, who looks very good on the weekend.
Yeah, and we'll go along the panel now. Really, we'll start with Tom and go back down to Aidan. Now, Tom, again, your predictions for where both teams are going to finish, QPR and Reading.
I think Reading will certainly finish higher. I think that result was a one-off, and I think they'll still be fighting for playoffs. I think it was Alori, I think he got sent off for Reading in that game. When he got sent off, I think it was deserved, but I think QPR then really sort of capitalised on that, and then Reading just struggled to get back into it. And I think QPR, they haven't made great signings. I'm a bit sure on their team, and you can't really look at the team and sort of look at a standout player, perhaps, apart from Washington potentially as their sort of star striker. And I sort of think that they play they either play 3 at the back with wing backs or 5 at the back.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll struggle to adapt to play into that in sort of a tougher league where they'll sort of have 2 strikers. Well, opposition will have 2 strikers. So I think that Reading will definitely finish above QPR, but I'm not sure if QPR will get the playoffs with how sort of competitive the division will be this year.
Yeah, and now, obviously, thanks for that, Tom. Now we go to Josh. Josh, your predictions for where both teams are going to finish?
Well, I had the privilege of watching Reading Tuesday night, and
oh, great!
I thought they were poor Tuesday. I thought Gillingham were the better side.
Yeah, I saw that game.
Reading did win 2-0 in the end. 2 great goals. Liam Kelly was superb. The trouble with Reading is that they have a paper-thin squad, and they just need to add numbers because they do have the quality in there. Signings like Mamadou Barrow, I'm sure will come good. His pace is just frightening. So I think they'll be up there. I think they'll be in and around the playoffs again, and so they should be. Sam had a great first season, but QPR, I don't particularly rate Ian Holloway as a manager.
Yeah.
So I think, although it's been a great start to the season for them, I do think they'll tail off and finish sort of in the bottom half.
Yeah, I do agree with that point about Ian Holloway because I've never saw him as a really good solid manager, and I think his tactics are also a bit all over the place. But that's another point that we'll discuss later on. But now on to Joe. Now changing the question slightly, still asking for your prediction. Including the question, but just like Josh said about Yap Stam, he had a great season last. Do you think he'll still have a good season this season with Reading?
He was an unknown quantity, wasn't he, last year? And I think Reading have done well to keep hold of him because of that first season. There could have easily been some Premier League teams, sort of Crystal Palace and the like, going in for him, but. I think if he gets one more season, especially if he can get all his players, I don't see why playoffs, again, that shouldn't be a problem for them this year. And QPR, I just think, watching them last season, and then I just think they're too inconsistent to mount a serious promotion charge. And I think it'll end up being mid-table, low at mid-table again.
Yeah, and Ashley, now on to you. Thanks for that, Joe. Ashley, what do you think about Ian Holloway? The point Josh just raised. Do you think he's a good manager?
He's not one of the best in the Championship, but he's still he's definitely one of the best in the Football League. He's a good manager, and and he knows his stuff, and he's got good experience as a manager, and he knows that, and also he knows how to get a team out of the Championship.
Yeah, he does.
Because he did that with Blackpool. So, he's a good manager.
Now we move on from the. Sorry, I didn't come to you there, Aidan. We'll get some more predictions shortly, but we're moving on now to the next game because I've picked about 5 or 6 games of a highlight to talk about, really. But first of all, what about obviously the Sunday game? Bolton Leeds, newly promoted, just come up from League One. Bolton against Leeds, missed out of the playoffs last season with a new manager. Obviously, how do you think Leeds will do this season? Obviously, with a new manager, Josh.
I expect Leeds to be up there, and for the simple reason they have a fantastic goal scorer. And if you do have a player that's going to get you 15, 20 goals, you're going to be up there and challenging. And they've got that in Chris Woods, and he showed that again against Bolton. I'm quite surprised how involved Bolton actually were in the game. I think that the scoreline was quite generous to Bolton. But I think Bolton have got to be starting both Josh Cullen and what's his name, Reece Burke from West Ham. I think they started Cullen the other day, but they didn't didn't start Burke, and as soon as he come on, they sort of reassured the back line. He sort of made it a bit better.
Yeah, and now sticking with you, Josh, is how well do you think Adam Lefondre will do with Bolton? Obviously, he signed again for him in the summer. How well do you think they'll do with him? Do you think he'll be a key player or not?
With Lefondre, I think he's a good player for League One level now at this time in his career, but Championship, I think maybe too far. I mean, he didn't exactly set the world alight when he was at Wolves. No. He has struggled recently in the Championship, so I'd put him in the good League One player category.
Yeah, and obviously staying on the Bolton Leeds game and on that topic is we'll go to Ashley. Ashley, what about your opinion on Bolton? Do you think they're going to stay up, or do you think they're going to get pushed into that relegation?
I reckon it'll be a struggle for them because obviously they've still got the uncertainty about their financial future. Well, there's still a few dodgy things going along with the finances, so it could be tough for them, especially. And they just got to hope that Parkinson recruits well for this league. And I think Cullen and Burke will do well for them. And I think if they get Lefondre to the form he was at Reading when he took them up, and they should have no problem with staying up. But it's just all speculation with that.
Yeah. So we're going to move on from the Bolton Leeds game because we haven't got a lot of time on the Championship segment really. So the next game we head over to is wait a minute. There we go. Is Forest. If you didn't know, I support Forest, my team. Forest v Millwall. That was on the same night as Sunderland v Derby. In my opinion, Forest scrape a very lucky 1-0 win over Millwall. Really good team, I thought Millwall were. I'm going to get the opinions of the panel now. We'll go to Tom first and then to you, Joe. Tom, how do you think Forest will do this season? Obviously, they got relegated. Not relegated, luckily. They nearly got relegated last year. Survived on the final day, which was a huge relief to me. Do you think they're going to be down there again? Or
again, I'm not. It's a hard one to say because they're opening a game against Millwall. I saw the highlights because it wasn't live on TV, but it looked like for most of the highlights, Millwall controlled the game, sort of controlled possession, and I think they hit the crossbar on the post several times.
Yeah.
And I think looking back at it, Millwall deserved a win.
They did.
And I think there was a goal they scored that wasn't. They ruled it offside, and I don't think it was.
I think it wasn't offside. I'm 100%, well, 99% sure that it was. The reason why they didn't give it was because Forest keeper Jordan Smith was pushed down in the box, which it looked like he was. And he was pushed down in the box and then a claim for that. But yeah. But staying on the Millwall topic and slightly moving on, we'll go to Joe now. Joe, how well do you think Millwall are going to do this season?
If you have a look at, obviously, promoted side, but if you have a look at their FA Cup run last year, they can beat teams who are on paper better than them. I think their manager is Millwall through and through. I think they'll just survive. Yeah. I think there's 3 worse teams than them this year.
Yeah. And we're going to go on to the relegation predictions in just a minute. But back on to Forest. Now, this one is for Josh. Josh, give us your prediction for where Forest are going to finish this season.
I think you'll stay up. Other than that, I don't think you'll do too much. I'm going to put you in mid-table.
Yeah.
Because, for the simple reason, I don't particularly want to see you in a relegation battle again. Massive club, great support, and Is Britt Longer still there, or is he?
No, he's left. Oh, don't say that. I'll start crying again.
How much money did you get for him?
We got it. It was really surprising, and you've actually took the words out of my mouth, because that was one of the next questions I was about to ask. Is we got 14 million for him, and he's been injured twice. His first injury, he was out for he was out for 9 months, and his second one, he was about out for 2.5 months. And I just thought 14 million for a player that's injured, it's good business by Forest, and hopefully we just invest the money really.
I mean, he's a fantastic player, but to get that sum of money, like you said, for a player that is that injury prone, is fantastic for Forest. It is. If they reinvest that into the squad, then you should be staying up if you're spending that amount of money on your playing squad.
I know, and that's one thing that I was pleased with, because some people were disappointed. I mean, I'm disappointed to see him go, because he's a great player.
Yeah.
But 14 million for him, I think it's worth it. Well, it's more than worth it in my opinion.
I agree.
But now we are moving on to our next game that we're focusing on is Sheffield United v Brentford. The Blades win 1-0 over they won 1-0 over Brentford on Saturday. Obviously, Sheffield United, a team that surprised us last year, really. Well, surprised me, I thought, of coming up. And obviously, they got automatic promotion. They won the league, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. So I think it's great for them to come up. But how well do you think they're going to do this year? Do you think they'll just go straight back down? We'll aim that one at Aiden.
So I think you've got to look at how long they can keep Chris Wilder for. I mean, when he was at Northampton, one of the best managers we've ever had, he went straight to Sheffield United, and they started the season bottom of the league, and all of a sudden took him up to the top of the league, and they just stayed there as soon as they got up there. It was a great season from last season, and I don't see why they can't push for a high place this season. I mean, great start to the season against Brentford. Brentford are a team that I think will probably be challenging for a playoff place, so to beat them on the opening day is great for them. They've still got an unbeaten run going from last year. And, I think it'll be a very good season for Sheffield United. If they can keep all of some of their key players, keep Chris Wilder in charge, they'll do great this season.
Great, that's a really good point there. Very quickly, and then we'll move back on to Sheffield United. Josh is now going to talk you through whatever he wants about League One, League Two, or even the Championship. So, Josh, fire away with the questions or anything you want to add.
Right, well, the first question I've got, I predicted my league table for League One a couple of days ago, and the only outstanding candidate for the league title for me was Blackburn Rovers. And I want to know if all of you will still think that they will finish towards the top of the table despite losing to Southend on the opening day. I'll ask Max first.
All right. Thanks, Josh. I think, if I'm honest, I don't think they're going to go to the top of the table, and I really don't think, unless a dramatic change, I really don't think they're even going to finish in the playoffs. It's a negative point because I do like the club. I've been there plenty of times with Forest away, and it's a great ground, and they've got some quite good fans there as well. So it was disappointed to see them down. Obviously, Forest and Birmingham sent them down. But if like I just said, I don't think they'll get promoted this year. I don't think Tony Mowbray's a good manager. I think he's very, very. It's the word it's very difficult because I think he's a very defensive manager, and I don't think he's got that much of an attacking side, and I don't think his tactics are very well. But yeah, like I say, don't think Blackburn will go up there to the top of the table, and I think Tony will get sacked probably, and they'll get a new manager in. But we'll see, because it could completely go the other way. But yeah.
Staying with you then, Max. I want to know why you think they'll finish outside the playoffs with the additions of Peter Whittingham, Bradley Dack, and Dominic Samuel.
It's a great point you've raised there, Josh. I think they won't finish out there. I don't think a lot of the players have got the determination. I watched the performance against, no, it wasn't Fleetwood, it was Southend, and I just thought they were just lacking a bit of passion and a bit of spirit in their team, and I really just don't think, and like I just said about the manager, I don't think he will guide him there. I could be completely wrong because I have been in past years with my predictions, but I just think that after that performance and some of the ways I saw them play in the Championship, I didn't think they were that good, and I don't know if they're League One football or they are Championship football. They used to be a Premier League team, which is a shame to see. Always a shame to see a Premier League team go down to lower leagues. But yeah, like I said, I just think they're just lacking a bit of spirit and passion there.
Okay, then I'll move on to Tom. Where do you think Blackburn will finish the season?
It's a bit of a hard one because you look at those three signings you mentioned, and there's three quality signings for League One. I know Dak, of course, from Gillingham. I'm not sure how he played last season, but he sounds like a good signing. Whittingham, of course, a Cardiff legend. He's been in their team consistently for years. I think nearly 8. I think he nearly got a testimonial. And then Samuel, who's been playing for Ipswich and Reading, like quite regular. But then I think they need a bit of a balance, and I think there is something missing. Like Max said, where you look like the likes of Sheffield United. I'd sort of said they've got a similar squad, but I think Chris Wilder's got he's got into the players. Is it Tony Mowbray that's at Blackburn?
I believe so.
I believe he hasn't got what Chris Wilder's got out of the Sheffield United players, and it's just that sort of passion, that grit and determination, and they're struggling to sort of gel. And I think, as I sort of said, they've signed 3 good players there, but I think they've sort of missed out on perhaps defensive players. I know a Peterborough player, Michael Boswick, he turned down Blackburn for Lincoln, which sort of shows how much of that players are being put off by Blackburn because of how poor they've been doing recently and sort of turmoil with their owners, their fans. So I think it's going to be a long rebuilding process, and I think this year they're sort of, for them, they'd want to do a Wolves and sort of bounce back up, but I could sort of see them doing like a Blackpool. I know that they were in League Two, but I could sort of see them doing a Blackpool, and it's taken a couple of years to sort of build like the foundations back as the club in general, and I think they will finish mid-table this season.
Same question to you then, Joseph. Where will Blackburn finish the season?
I'm going to disagree with everything that everyone said, and I think they'll finish, if not top, then second. I think if you finish ahead of Blackburn this year, you're going to get promoted.
I agree with you, mate. I agree with you. And then
I just think Tony Mowbray might not be the most glamorous manager, but I think he'll get the job done, and that's exactly what they need. And I think, is Danny Graham still there? If he's still there, I think he'll score goals for them. Yeah, I think he'll get goals for them.
They've got some quality League One players, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And as everyone said, all the transfers that they've made are Championship quality, you'd see. So I don't think they'll have many problems getting out of there.
Ashley, what about yourself as a fellow League One fan? Where do you think Blackburn will come this season, and why?
I'm agreeing with Joe here and saying that they'll win the league because they've just got such a good squad for this level. Even bringing in like Paul Caddis, and he's a Championship player. We've still got Charlie Mulgrew, Richie Smallwood, like you said, Whittingham, Gladwin, Dak, Samuel have all come in. They're Championship level players, so I can just see them kicking on and winning the league.
And then, Aidan, what about yourself?
I'll agree with the last 2 points. I think they're going to get top 2. I don't think they're going to win the league because I think Wigan might pit them to the title. But I think the problem with the first game of the season, you got to look at who they played. Southend are one of them teams that could potentially surprise everybody and finish quite high because they had a good, strong season last season, and they've brought in some decent players. And so, I mean, they might not have looked the best on Saturday, but that was a tough start of the season for them. And they've got some really good signings, like we've mentioned. it is sad to see them at such a low level. I don't think they're going to stay there for very long. It's very similar to Bolton last season, where they came down. People weren't expecting them to do that well and then finish top two. I think Blackburn will be a very similar story there.
Hey, you mentioned Wigan finishing above them. What do you think Wigan have over Blackburn?
I think the signings overall have been a little bit better. I mean, this might be a little bit biased, but the signing of Ivan Toney on loan to partner the likes of Will Grigg and other attacking players, they've got like Michael Jacobs up there. They've got a lot of different styles of players that they can really use in their squad. They also got players like Max Power, Sam Morsey. So I think they've just got a much stronger squad. They had a better start to the season as well. They managed to win on Saturday. So I just think their squad is a bit stronger than Blackburn's, and that's why I think they're going to finish top of the league.
No better place to start than for my next question than with you, Aidan.
Okay.
Justin Edinburgh at Northampton Town come under a lot of criticism from me last season when he was at Gillingham.
Yep.
And in the end, he rightly got sacked. He ended the season poorly with Northampton, and he started the season poorly with Northampton. Do you see him getting sacked this season?
A lot of our fellow Northampton fans do, but I disagree with them. I don't think. I mean, his tactics aren't the best, but when you compare it to Rob Page, who was in charge of Northampton for the first half of last season, it's a definite improvement. I think this season we were very unlucky against Shrewsbury because we were the better side for half the game, but our defences weren't the greatest. We haven't got a massive goal scoring threat just yet. We didn't really have Chris Long playing for that long, who does look like a goal scoring threat. He came off the bench. And then at QPR on Tuesday, we were the better side for the entire game. Both games, the officiating was just unfortunately very poor and cost us potentially 2 wins in 2 games. But I think him and Chairman Kelvin Thomas made some brilliant signings this summer. We've probably had one of the best transfer windows in the league. That might be a biased opinion, but a lot of fellow League One fans have agreed on that point. And if we can bounce back on Saturday and get 3 points, I think it'll be a very different story to how every Cobblers fan is feeling after the first 2 games of the season.
Sorry to drag this on with you, Aidan. But
right.
I'm going to raise another point.
Okay.
Justin Edinburgh had a fantastic transfer window with Gillingham last summer, bringing in the likes of J. Emmanuel Thomas, Paul Konchesky, amongst many others, League One proven players.
Yeah.
He then said that they were all Championship quality players and that was going to push for the league. So what makes you think that he has learnt from his mistakes and is going to use that to make these signings better than how the other ones worked out?
I think the only difference is that a lot of the players that we've signed are a bit younger than the likes of Paul Konchesky, and I think because we've adapted a new style. When we had Rob Page in charge, he didn't really know what he was doing. He kept changing formations. Edinburgh's now decided to stick with this 3 at the back or 5 at the back, whatever you want to call it, with versatile players. He's signed a lot of players who can play multiple positions. And I think as soon as he can find what player plays best in each position, he knows to stick to them players. And he hasn't gone spending wild amount of money with this new investment and wasting it all on players who have proven well in the Premier League but are now old and kind of not doing so well in the later years. He's kind of gone in and bought players who are going to be good for the next couple of years and who are, they're strong players, they're leaders, they know what they're doing. And I think as soon as we start picking up some wins, we'll be very consistent.
Yeah, right. And I'll move on to Ashley. Ashley, as a Posh fan, you come under a bit of criticism last season as quite an inconsistent team. What do you think Grant McCann has done to improve this and make you a more consistent team and a side that might be up there and challenging?
I think this year he's got a group of players that actually want to play for the club and just looking at the atmosphere of the squad, like pre-season, all the players had a barbecue together and it was just everyone was there. Pretty much everyone was there. It feels different from last season because there's everyone seems to get on well with each other at the club this year. There's no real standout players in the dressing room. There's just a good atmosphere around the dressing room. Everyone all friendly with each other. And like I said, like summed up by the barbecue, I think they want this club to do well.
Surely keeping hold of Madison and Leo da Silva, or whatever his name is, the youngster. Surely that's two massive bonuses for you as well.
Yeah, but I'll answer that after transfer deadline day when we find out if we have kept both of them, because there's still rumours of Madison going away. But for the moment, yeah, it's brilliant for us. Keeping hold of both of those players.
Obviously, I got to see Bradley Dack at Gillingham, and after his fantastic season, he sort of dropped off a bit last season. Do you think Madison will do the same, or do you think he'll continue fantastic form?
I don't think so, because he's on the transfer list and he's got a year left on his contract. So I think if we don't go up, he'll leave. So I think this is a perfect opportunity to put himself in the shop window, perform well, and if he does end up leaving, it'll be hopefully because of his performances this year. But I'm hoping that his performances this year will take us up and he'll sign an extension.
Okay, Joseph, who are your dark horses for League One this season, and who do you think is particularly going to stand out in and throughout the league this season?
Yeah.
Is Joe there?
Is Joe there?
Is Joe there? Go on then, I'll direct that question to you, Max.
Well, you're going to have to repeat that because I've just had some technical issues. So, sorry, Josh, repeat the question, please. Sorry, mate.
Who are you tipping for, like, your dark horses for League One this season? And
right.
They're going to perform and impress throughout the season?
Yeah, it's a great question there. My dark horses, I think it'll be really good. I think Gillingham, Josh, your team. I think the Gills could do really well. I do not. I have to admit, I don't follow a lot of League One football and some of League Two, which is one thing I want to get into more this year, and not follow just the Championship and top leagues, because I think lower leagues is much better than some high leagues. But after what I've seen, and I've watched some of the last Walt's blog, your blog, Josh, which is great, by the way.
Thank you.
And some of the videos of the reactions of last year was dead interesting to see. But of what I've seen with your predictions and stuff is, I think Gillingham could be a dark horse. I haven't seen a lot of the transfers, but I think they could, because I can see them bouncing back. Because where did they finish last season?
We finished one place and 1 point above the relegation zone.
Right, you see, I think they could bounce back, because I think a teams we saw Huddersfield, didn't we? And Fulham, they bounced back, straight back. And the Huddersfield's obviously now promoted to the Premier League. They bounced back. They finished one season in about 18th, and they bounced back and finished and got promoted in the next. And they've really built themselves off that. And I think that's a good thing for a team. But anyway, my other ones, I think will do well. I think Wigan will do well. I think I can't remember who raised it. I think it was Aidan, about them finishing at the top, just beating Blackburn. But I think Wigan are just a really good team, and I think, is it Warren Joyce, their manager?
Paul Cook.
That I'm wrong on Paul Cook. Yeah, and I think he's a good manager, and I can't remember who he's previously managed, but I've definitely heard of the name.
Portsmouth. I'm back.
That's it. Hello, Joe. Sorry about that.
I pressed the mute button. My fault.
Oh. But as I was saying, I just think that Wigan will definitely go up, and I think Donny Rovers, even though they obviously just got promoted last season, I think they could still do well. I don't think they'll go straight back down. maybe a mid-table finish, but in a few seasons' time, maybe trying to get back to the Championship where they were a few years ago. And that's really it. But another quick one, is Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury have been really good. And then when they played Forest in the Cup Tuesday night, I thought they were a really good team. For a League One standard, I thought they counter-attacked really well, and they had some great players. So I think Shrewsbury could be a bit of a dark horse too.
Nice one. Joseph, we've spoke about sort of the top end of the League One table. I'm going to ask you now who you fancy to be relegated from League One. Bear in mind that 4 teams get relegated.
Well, I'll quickly do. I think Portsmouth will have a good season, much like Max said with Doncaster. I think they look solid for the top, but sort of in terms of the bottom, I think that, I don't know, it's a weird one. I think Bristol Rovers would either get promoted or get relegated. I think, I don't know why, I've just got a feeling that they're a team that could go either way.
Yeah.
This season. But in other ones, I think that, I don't know, Oldham have struggled recently, I think. And Blackpool, I can, just with their off-field troubles, I can see Blackpool going straight back down.
Yeah, just simply for the off-the-field issues.
Yeah, simply for that. And the fans, obviously, as much as they want to support the team, they want the owners out, and maybe another relegation might get the owners out. But, so yeah, I'd say Oldham, Blackpool, Bristol Rovers, and Rotherham look shaky the other day when I watch a highlight, so maybe they might get a second relegation in a row.
Back-to-back relegations, yeah.
Yeah, they don't look. They were rubbish in the Championship last year. They were nowhere near that standard. So, but as everyone says, League One seems really hard to predict, and there's about 10 teams you could say would either go up or go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that bracket between playoffs, and then there's the mid-table, and then the relegation zone, and it's like I think there's going to be barely any points separating them. It's just whoever takes momentum through.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, Tom, we'll come back to you. Seems I haven't spoken to you for a while.
Yeah.
Obviously, we spoke earlier about Blackburn, etc. Who do you think will win the league?
Win League One?
Yes.
I've gone for a couple of weird predictions and slightly out there. I think Fleetwood have a great chance.
Agreed.
I think the sign. Well, last season you saw, I think they had one of the best defensive records. I think Rosler's done a great job there, bringing in the likes of I forgot his name, like Makuleni from Everton.
Yeah, that's the one.
I think that's a quality signing for him to get. I know he scored 2 at the weekend and looked really promising. And I think they've just all round, you can't really pick sort of a weakness. I think you look at their keeper, Carnes. He was hovering around first team football last season, came in, and I think he got about 10, 11 clean sheets in a row, something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think there'll be dark horses to get, well, I think promotion, not through the playoffs, so sort of straight up. And then if not, I'd probably say Bradford, because they've sort of, again, been hovering around. I know they got to the final of the playoffs. I think this season they'll sort of make that push they need to get up. And again, they've made some good signings like Jake Reeves, the likes of, well, sort of like that. So yeah, I think it'll be between Bradford and Fleetwood.
Right, that is my League One segment over. I've got one topic for League Two. Only one, unfortunately. We'll try and race through it.
Yeah, go on, Josh.
Start with you, Tom, and then we'll race through everyone.
Yeah.
They scored 8 on Saturday. Where do you think Luton Town will finish coming into the season?
I think this season they'll get straight promotion out of the top 3. I think winning 8-2 against Yeovil, who I do think will go down, but still to score 8 goals on the opening day is incredible. I know they've put a lot of money in the club this season to sort of say like now or never, like Mansfield have sort of done. Yeah. I think Luton will 100% be up there with either in the playoffs or automatic promotion with just the depth they've got, the finances they've got, the players they've got now. And yeah, I can't really see, apart from Mansfield, with like sort of equal signings and the amount of money they've ploughed through in the transfer window, I can't really see anyone topping them.
Yeah. Max. Luton Town, where are they finishing?
Yeah, Luton Town. It's a result. I mentioned it in TFF Talks earlier in this week on Monday. It's a great win for anyone who wins 8-2, and it shows. And I think Luton will do well. Not sure, maybe getting promoted. Maybe they could push into the playoffs and lose out, or just finish outside the playoffs. But they'll have a great season. There's some of the goals they scored then were fantastic, and that they showed a much better performance than some Championship teams and League One teams on Saturday. So yeah, it's a great result for anyone. But like I say, I think Luton will do really well this season.
Yep. Last three answers then, Joseph. Luton Town, where are they finishing? Winning the league, playoffs, or promotion?
I'd say third behind Coventry and Mansfield.
Yep. Ashley, then, what about yourself?
I'd say definitely in the top three, but it just depends whether we can push on to win the league. I think, like Joe said, Mansfield, Coventry, and possibly even Exeter could be up there, challenging for that top three. But I think Luton will finish solidly in there.
It's not a bad shout. And last but not least, before I hand back over to Max, Aidan.
I think Luton will get top three. I think this is their chance to finally go back up to League One again. I think the teams that'll be around them, Mansfield, I think, might win the league just ahead of them. I think teams that haven't been mentioned yet, Exeter and Port Vale, I think will both have good seasons as well. So I think those four teams, maybe Coventry as well, will all be pushing for top three. But I think, Luton will get top three this season.
Nice one. Back over to you then, Max.
Thanks for that, Josh. Really good part of the show. But like I say, Josh, he's covered a lot of stuff there. Very quickly, we're going to be running through about 2 key games that myself has picked ahead of the fixtures on this Saturday the 12th of August fixtures. And we're going to ask each panellist for just a quick score prediction and then back on to the next one. So the first Championship game we've highlighted is Hull City v Burton Albion. We'll start from Tom and go back right down to Aidan. Tom, your quick score prediction.
I think Hull will win convincingly at home. Ex-Premier League side, Burton Albion are very good. So it seems. I'm going to say 3-0 Hull.
Brilliant. And Josh?
Hull City 2, Burton Albion 1.
Thank you. And Joe?
2-0 Hull City.
Cheers. And Ashley?
2-0 Hull.
And thanks for that. And last but not least, Aidan?
I'm going to go over a 2-2 draw.
Great. Some very mixed opinions there.
Yeah, I think
really
Burton Albion is stronger than people say. So, and yeah, 2-2.
Good point. Next one, we're going to go Derby v Wolves. Again, start off with Tom.
It's a weird one. Wolves, I think, will do surprisingly really well this season. I think Wolves will nick it 1-0.
Great. And Josh?
1-1.
Joe?
2-1 Derby.
Ashley?
2-2.
And Aidan?
I'll go over 2-1 to Wolves.
Great. Again, mixed opinions there, but that's really good. Now on to League One. I've picked out 2 games as well in this league. Next one is Rotherham United. Rotherham obviously lost 2-0 to Fleetwood. Can they bounce back against Southend? Southend, who beat another team that just came down on, and they beat on Saturday. They beat their Blackburn 2-1. So your score prediction for Rotherham v Southend, again starting with Tom.
I reckon it'll be 1-1.
Thank you. Josh?
I'm going to go Southend 3, Rotherham 0.
Joe?
3-1 Southend.
Ashley?
2-1 Southend.
And Aidan?
Go over 3-0 Southend.
Right, last but not least for League Two, we've got another fixture. And Aidan, I'm sure you'll like this one because it is your team. Is again a team that beat, like I just said, beat Rotherham 2-0. It's Northampton Town v Fleetwood Town. So, first of all, I tell you what, we'll go in the reverse direction. Aidan, we'll start off with your score prediction for that game.
I'm going to be confident after a strong performance against QPR on Tuesday night. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, Ashley.
Fleetwood 9, Cobblers 0. No, I'm joking here. No, I'm joking here. 2-1 Fleetwood.
Joe.
1-0 Fleetwood.
Josh.
Fleetwood to smash Northampton 4-0.
Oh.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And Tom.
2-0 Fleetwood.
Cheers. Right, last but the last league, save the best till last.
Of course.
So League Two, 2 games I've picked out is Notts County v Chesterfield. We'll start off with Joe this time.
2-0 Notts County. Shola Ami will get both.
Good player, Shola Amiobi is. The Amiobi brothers, both good. Ashley.
2-2.
Aidan.
I'm going to go with a 2-1 Notts County with Jack McCourt for Chesterfield getting sent off as he is the son of Joey Barton, as every Northampton fan would know. So yeah, 2-1 Notts County.
Tom.
I think it'll be 0-0.
And Josh.
1-1.
Cheers for that. Last fixture, to sum up the prediction, we have got, I tell you what, someone shout one out. Anyone?
Lincoln Morecambe.
All right. Oh, Tom's about to die there. Yeah. You're all right, Tom?
Yeah, I'm right, thanks. Yeah.
So tell you what, Tom, you start it off.
4-0 Lincoln.
Yeah. Josh.
2-0 Lincoln.
Joe.
5-0 Morecambe. Let's put Lincoln as a little club back in their own place.
We'll have some fights after this. Ashley.
3-0 Lincoln.
And Aidan.
I'm going to have a 4-1 Lincoln.
Great. Thank you ever so much for that. Quick topic we're going to talk on really quick, whiz through it, is we're going to it's just an answer of a simple bit of a simple sentence and a yes or no. Do you think financial fair play is fair on every single club? We'll start off with Ashley. Ashley?
Yeah, I really don't know, because just look at some of the just looking at the business Bury have done. I don't know how they've not broken any financial fair play at all.
Yep. Aidan?
I'm going to say absolutely not. Like I said, yeah, Bury have spent way too much money than I think they have. Obviously, you've got to look at not just football leagues or non-league with Billericay Town and just in general English football. I don't think the fair play rules are fair. I think the name needs to be changed, to be honest.
Yeah, very quickly, the last 3. Joe, we'll start with you.
I don't see the point in it, so no.
And Josh?
No, it's not fair, no.
Tom?
No, I agree with everyone else. It's not fair at all. No.
Great. Thank you ever so much for some of the questions sent in tonight. You can keep them coming. We've got about 5 minutes left of the show. Just put it towards a closing end. We've got a few questions aimed, and then a few people, and then aimed, and then we're gonna pass over to every panelist to talk about their club for about a minute or so. So the first and the only question is from Laura. She says, "Great show." One to Josh is, how do you think Gills are going to do this season?
I think we'll narrowly stay in the league again. As long as it doesn't come down to the final day again, I'm happy, because I can't go through that again.
Exactly the same with me. For Forest, I just hope they don't go down. But quickly, we'll rush. Well, we won't rush. We'll whiz through everyone just again. We'll start with Aidan. You have a minute to sum up Northampton Town and how they're going to do this season.
Right, it could go either way. Either we're going to fight potentially for a playoff place if we start getting some good results, or we're going to do terribly and be in a relegation battle. If we start getting consistent results, like if we manage to somehow beat Fleetwood on Saturday and then go on to do well against Charlton, which is very unlikely, then we're going to do very well. We've got some very tough fixtures coming up in the next couple of months. We're out of the cup now as well, so put our full focus into the league, and if we can pick up some good results, we'll do quite well. If we struggle in these next 5-6 games, we're going to be in some trouble. Hopefully, Justin Edinburgh can turn things around. We're going to be bringing in a goalkeeper, potentially Freddie Woodman, by the weekend, it looks. So, hopefully if we can make some good business, we'll do all right, but you never know, one way or the other.
Yeah, and we'll go to Joe for Newcastle.
Top half, let's see. If we get a striker in, that's what I'm going for.
Very short but correct and good comment there. Ashley?
Mid-table to playoffs. I think we're not going to push any higher, but I think we're too good to be bottom half or looking anywhere near relegation. So I'd take mid-table, but I'd be very happy with playoffs.
Yeah, agree with you there. Tom?
I think Lincoln will get top half, try and push on for playoffs, but I don't think we'll quite get there. We've after last season, I think we made about 3 mil from the FA Cup run we had, and the signings we've brought in have been nothing short of incredible. Being able to bring in the likes of Boswick, Matt Green from Mansfield, who was at Birmingham, Neil Erdley, ex-Northampton right back, that sort of thing. We've got Ginelli back on loan from Burnley. I think we've got some quality players in for League Two, and I think we'll push on. And as long as if we can hold Raggett, our centre back, as I know West Ham and apparently Norwich have met his release clause, if we can manage to keep hold of him, and I think we'll do fine. And the Cowleys.
Yeah, and the main man will save the best till last. Josh?
I think we'll be okay. We'll keep enough clean sheets. We'll be better defensively than we were last season, but I don't think we'll score enough goals. And for that reason, I think we'll narrowly stay up.
Right. Thanks for all the comments sent in via Twitter, all the social media, and in the YouTube live chat section. Danny will be back this Monday. So in a few days' time, he'll be back with another great show, the usual TFF Talks, covering every single aspect in the English Football League, and including the Premier League as well, and the League Cup. But thanks for all the panel tonight, and we're quickly going to go through. If you just shout your Twitter names out, or anywhere where anyone wants to find you, we'll start off with Ashley.
At 40boy96 on Twitter.
Yeah, cheers for coming on tonight, Ashley.
No
and Aidan.
If you just search my name at Aidan Boyer on any social media, Twitter, Instagram, the like, you'll find me on there. Thank you very much for having me.
No, don't worry. It's been great having you. Been a really good panellist tonight, and so has all the others. Joe?
At 16, Joe Buck on any social media.
Great to have you tonight as well. Now to Josh.
You can follow my blog rather than me if you want. At the Jill's blog, you can find YouTube and all that there, I suppose. Yeah,
it's a really good, really good YouTube channel and a blog as well. So really do make sure you go and check it out, because I had a really good read of it as a neutral fan. So keep up the good work, Josh, and thanks for coming in tonight.
Thank you very much, mate, for having me.
No worries. And Tom?
Just at Tom Bullivant on any social media.
Cheers for coming on tonight, Tom.
No problem. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Great, thank you. So like I say, Danny's back on Monday, and we're back this time next week for another 45-minute show. Thanks for all the listeners tonight. Have a good weekend, and Hope your EFL team wins. Goodbye.